Hello, everyone. Good to see you today. Thank you so much for coming to listen to my talk. My name is Rebecca Hauk. I'm a lead product manager at PayPal. My 1-year anniversary with the company was yesterday. About 6 months ago, I took on the Postman, our public Postman collection as part of my product portfolio, along with a few other sandbox and testing tools. Shortly after that happened, the fabulous Patricia Dugan, who is here in the room, the community manager, approached me and asked me if I wanted to be in the Postman Leaders Group. I have been a longtime fangirl of Postman since its inception when I discovered it as a browser extension. And it became an extension of my right arm, and that's been the case for the better part of a decade. So when Patricia approached me and asked me and posed this opportunity to me, obviously I was honored and humbled and so excited to say yes. This is a photo of me with Deepa Goyal at the PayPal campus in San Jose in April, where we hosted a 3-day developer conference for our developers. Deepa is the head of product at Postman, and she was there that day to give a talk. She also happens to be a former member of the developer experience product team that I'm currently on, and she was actually instrumental in launching our public collection in the public API network a few years ago. All right, so this slide really says it all. It can't be overstated how much PayPal loves Postman. Back in 2022, Deepa and others before me made the decision to make a strategic investment in a public API collection to address some pretty unique challenges that we face at PayPal. We're a very mature platform, and our APIs drive billions of dollars in commerce. We first launched our first APIs in 2004, over 20 years ago. The complexity of our platform and ecosystem is enormous. We deal with a huge range of use cases, a multi-generational set of APIs, and a massive developer community. It's not just 1 or 2 endpoints for us, it's a full ecosystem. So the stakes for us are really high. That's where Postman came in. The hypothesis was that Postman would be the most effective way to help our developers navigate all of this complexity. We've got a full API reference collections, we've got scenario-based flows, ready to run example requests, and we even have a lot of built-in scripting to help our devs hit the ground running. And the best part about it, and I was super impressed when I discovered this, the whole PayPal Postman experience was designed to be super convenient. Setting a North Star metric, a common North Star metric, time to first API call, or TTFC, to be just under 1 minute. Oh. Sorry. That means the moment that you open Postman, and you will see orange Run in Postman buttons ubiquitous on our developer site, you can be making real API calls within seconds. So if you look at this Venn diagram, you got PayPal on one side and Postman on the other, and the sweet spot in the middle that we envisioned was the seamless payment integration for our developers. Fast forward to 2025. Our developers are all in. Our Postman collection is one of the most forked collections in the entire public API network, approaching 100,000 forks, and it's growing fast. This completely validates the hypothesis from 3 years earlier, and it tells us something really important. PayPal developers trust Postman as part of their day-to-day workflow. It's not just a reference for them, it's where real work gets done. Case in point, earlier this year, our research team ran a series of code-alongs where they observed developers building checkout integrations using our documentation and tooling. My lead designer was slacking me messages and live tweeting me some of the reactions to Postman. And these are just a few of the quotes of many that he passed through to me. Yeah, docs are fine, but having everything in Postman is really what I was looking for. I spend 90% of my time in your Postman collection. Lots of oohs and ahs when people saw that orange button in our documentation, and my absolute favorite one is the all caps that just popped into my DMs one day. This Postman flow is blowing my mind. But there's so much more, and it's not just about now or what happened in the past. Postman is ready-made for this moment for agentic APIs. They're making the transition into this new era of APIs easy and seamless. As the demand grows for agentic checkout and AI-driven commerce, our APIs through Postman are already wired up with a metadata layer and tooling to support these exciting use cases. So Postman isn't just a convenience for us, it's a core part of how our developers are building, experimenting, and launching faster with PayPal. Okay, so let's talk about why API design needs to level up now that AI is becoming a serious player. We are seeing and feeling a big seismic shift, right? Everyone feels it, we're all here. The last few months have been wild. It's not just humans using APIs anymore. LLMs and autonomous agents are starting to consume them too. And while that's super exciting, it also poses a problem. Traditional API design just wasn't built for this. APIs have mostly been designed with human developers in mind. We usually strive for clean docs, logical endpoints, and maybe some sample code. But AI doesn't read docs the way we do. So we need to recognize AI's role, perspective, and ability. Even more than humans do, AI needs structure and context in the API itself to understand how to use it properly. So this is where we need to evolve to step up to the next level. Number one, we have to start recognizing AI as not just a tool, but a new form of API consumer. That means rethinking the way we design APIs so they can be interpreted and used reliably by machines as well as people. Two, we need to expand our API design principles for this new agentic audience. Three, with this broadened perspective, our goal still remains what it's always been before AI. We want to accelerate adoption, but now for both types of consumers. So a few months back, when I was thinking about this and my mind was opening up, a phrase came to mind, and it just said out loud to my colleagues one day, and it became the title of this talk. We need to be good AI citizens. So what does it mean to be a good AI citizen? Simply put, it means creating APIs that are clear, easy to use, and work well for humans and AI systems so they can easily understand each other and work smoothly. So some considerations for AI-ready APIs. When we're designing APIs in the new world of human and AI consumers, a few things become really important for consideration. And honestly, they're not that different from good design practices with which we're already well familiar. It's just now that the stakes are higher because AI comes with a new level of accountability than humans ever did. AI doesn't have the ability to experiment and tinker. When I'm learning a new API and the docs are ambiguous, I'll put it right in Postman and run it and just see how it behaves. And I think a lot of people work that way. AI doesn't do that. So first up, transparency and predictability. APIs should do what they say they do, no surprises. And if an endpoint says it's going to return transaction details, it shouldn't come back with a list of error codes and a weather forecast. AI agents rely on consistency. If behavior changes unexpectedly, they're lost. Strong schema design remains paramount to achieving this. Having a clear, well-defined schema using formats like OpenAPI or JSON schema isn't just about structure, it's how agents understand what's going on. The API schema is more than a contract, it's like a cheat sheet for AI. It tells them what to expect, how to behave, and what the boundaries are. Next up, intention-oriented APIs. Don't just list what your API can do, explain why. Instead of, here's an endpoint, tell me what it's for. What's the goal? When would you use it? This kind of clarity helps both developers and AI agents make decisions faster. Perhaps the most important thing, in my opinion, is metadata. Metadata in a structured format provides extra context that lets agents do more than just poke around blindly. It's like labeling everything in your toolbox so even a robot could figure out what to use and when. So enter MCP. Has anybody heard of MCP? Just kidding. MCP is full of promise and addresses many of these things very well. It provides an additional semantic layer that acts as an addendum to your API contract specifically for LLMs. And it includes other capabilities not accessible through your direct APIs. And finally, can't forget about the practical stuff. If we're going to open up APIs to intelligent agents, that could hit us with tons of requests. We still and always will need good security and throttling in place. It's not really about locking things down. It's about making sure everything stays healthy and doesn't get overwhelmed. So all of this adds up to designing APIs that aren't just usable, but truly understandable and sustainable in an AI-powered world. Okay, so we've established that we're serving two audiences. Before I get into this slide, I have a full disclosure. So when I sketched out the outline for this talk a few months back, I had not yet heard of the term agent experience. That's how fast the AI buzzword lexicon is growing. And if y'all were in the discussion yesterday with Justine and Ryan Reynolds, Justine made a comment about helping the CEO with his keynote and having to iterate and evolve it during the course of planning up to this because things were changing so fast. I whispered to Philippe, who's here in the audience, I said to him, that happened with me with agent experience in Michael. He goes, yeah, that happened to me too. So we're not alone. It's been crazy trying to keep up with this. But anyway, when I imagined it a few months ago, I hadn't heard the term, but really it basically means the same thing in my mind. Traditionally, we focused on developer experience, or DX. We all know what that means. Clean docs, good error messages, logical endpoints, stuff that makes life easier for human developers. But now we have to think about agent experience, or AX. That's all about designing APIs that machine agents like LLMs and autonomous tools can understand without getting confused or stuck. There's a big difference between something that's human readable and machine operable. We might think that an endpoint is super intuitive, but if AI can't figure it out, or what it does or how to call it, it's a dead end. So what do? The goal isn't to choose one audience over the other, it's to design in a way that supports the entire population of API consumers and citizens. This means things like rich metadata, consistent patterns, clear naming, structured responses that both people and agents can work with. If we can strike that balance, we unlock way more powerful integrations and make it easier for both humans and developers and AI agents to build cool things on top of our APIs. So here's where things get really practical. How do we actually support both developers and agents in real-world usage? One big answer, tooling. Postman is no longer just for human devs testing endpoints. We can also use it to design and simulate how LLM-based agents might interact with our APIs. For example, we can create sample calls and simulations that show both the developer and an agent how to walk through a workflow. Not just, here's how to hit this endpoint, but here's how you go from search to get an item to take an action. That's helpful for devs, and it's critical for agents trying to figure things out on the fly. We can even generate prompts or step-by-step flows that act like a mini playbook for agents, giving them clues on how to navigate across the API in the right order with the data output from one API and how it flows into another API. So the goal here is to go beyond just documentation and start thinking of tools like Postman as a sandbox where both humans and machines can learn how to use your API the right way. It's like giving your API a built-in training ground. The better we support both audiences early on, the fewer issues we'll see downstream, and the faster they'll be able to build something great. So this is a real-world example. This is a story I like to tell. This comes from our PayPal developer days in April, 6 weeks ago. I had the pleasure of meeting a PayPal developer named Jordi Montez. Jordi was had a hacking project in our hackathon, and he called it Crawler Pal. It's based on a very real AI problem where he was having to deal with payment when his crawler encountered a HTTP 402 payment required error. At the event, my PM colleague, Aaron Serlip, had given a talk on our Vault APIs, and he had used Postman, a Postman flow to demonstrate the sequencing and the data passed from one call to another. We had included this flow in our public workspace and told the attendees after it was done that they could fork it and play around with the sample themselves. So during the hackathon, Jordy discovered this new flow, and it was exactly what he needed in his app. In less than 10 minutes, Jordy had all the info he needed to build his bot, and the agent had the instructions it needed in the form of the Postman collection JSON data to make payments. Jordy went on to win first prize in the hackathon, which came with a big cash prize, and it was high fives among many product managers at both Postman and PayPal. We were elated. So I'm going to give you a demo. So I'll walk through just the scenario. The agent needed to vault the credit card to use the vaulting APIs. They needed to complete a checkout using a payment token. And optionally, if they wanted to unvault the card at the end of the payment, this is the series of calls. So can we cut over to the demo screen? It's not, I don't see anything. Oh, is that what it, okay, there it is. Sorry, I didn't hear you, sorry. Okay. I see it. Okay, great. So this is a really simple little collection. I would call this a micro flow, and it just shows those 3 API calls. I'll first walk you through the 3 API calls in sequence, and then I'll take you over to show you the graphical display. So the first API call, this should look familiar to you whether or not you use payment APIs, because it looks just like a credit card input that we've all used many times. I have all the fields as variables in natural language, so there's no mystery here what's happening. I have a sample request. There's a sample response here from when I ran this earlier. So this is me vaulting the credit card with PayPal. And what I get in return is an ID that we call payment token or vault ID. This is called a payment token. Once I have that vault ID, I can then pass that to the checkout call. So this is the main checkout call, and instead of passing the credit card here, the credit card is stored on PayPal's servers, we can just pass the vault ID, and then there's additional information here about what was in the order. The optional step is just unvaulting the card so that it's removed from PayPal servers, and that's just a simple delete call with the vault ID. So Postman's amazing tooling. There's also a visual representation of this in flows, and you can easily see at a glance what's happening here. You can see how this variable, the vault ID, is passed to other subsequent calls. I have this set up so that I will pause after each call, so I'll execute this live, and we'll stop and look at the output after each call. So when I click run, I'm vaulting the card. And I'll take a look at the output, and you can see in the body, there's the ID that I need. The ID gets pulled out from the JSON and stored in this variable, and now I'm ready to complete my checkout. Complete the checkout. This one takes a few seconds because this is the main call. There we go. I got a successful response, and you can see completed, order completed. And the last step, it's optional, but it's deleting unvaulting the payment. And the same thing goes here. I hit go, I hit the vault ID, and it's success, and we're done. And it's that simple. So this is a small subset of what Jordy needed in his project. It had him finish his app in time, and submit and win the prize. Can we cut back to the slide deck? Thank you. So the key takeaways here, be a good AI citizen that we designed for clarity, composability, and collaboration with both humans and machines. The call to action today for everybody who's in this space, prepare your APIs today for an AI-first future and use Postman a lot. And also, just be a good AI citizen.